This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association. Your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Mark Magnuson.
Hello and welcome to Ag Matters PM on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Mark Magnuson. Today is Thursday, February 9th, 2023. I'm so glad you could join us for today's show. And in today's episode, I will speak with Courtney Knupp. She is the National Pork Board Vice President of International Market Development. We will also have a check of the ag weather outlook, but first, let's run down the markets.
It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net.
At the end of another trading day, we are joined now by agmarket.net for our closing market analysis. Kaden Sweeney, our guest today. Kaden, what did we see on the grain markets today?
Yeah, I think you can kind of summarize today's market really. Two main things, I guess, that we're looking at. Number one, corn market not looking too good. Lowest close since January 23rd, settling down like 7 3/4. So a little bit of risk there. On the other hand, we got soybean meal up double digits, almost taking back all of this week's gain. So really a red market for the most part, especially in the grains, except for meal, the main outlier there with a big day.
Kaden, that low point then for corn, like you mentioned, since January 23rd, is that just a coincidence, or do you think that comes off of the heels of the latest WASDE report? Anything to do with that?
Well, it's hard to say it's not related to the WASDE, especially since we're so closely coming off of it. I think just top of my head, one idea I think maybe the trade could be looking at is, we saw use come down a little bit yesterday, which was kind of expected, but it came out of ethanol and not exports. And so I guess you kind of have to be thinking in the back of your head, maybe trade's still looking for more cuts to exports going forward, maybe thinking that carryout is going to continue to grow. Really, our export sales were pretty decent this morning for corn, but I think you got to be a little bit leery of the long-term projections and what the WASDE is going to do going forward.
And getting all of this information, Kaden, we're getting reports from the United States Ag Services and also in South America as well. And we continue to see those production estimates for Brazil climb up because they've had such great conditions, such great weather. Argentina, meanwhile, has been so dry, those numbers have gone down. So in the end, do you think those two will essentially kind of balance each other out with that positive for Brazil and then things kind of dropping a little bit for Argentina?
Yeah, so really, it's interesting whenever you look at Argentina and Brazil, and I actually wrote this down so I wouldn't screw it up. So if you look at last year, Brazil and Argentina together combined production is 174 million metric tons because Brazil had just kind of a poor crop last year. Those two together this year are going to come in around 194 million metric tons, so 20 million metric ton higher production this year, even though we've seen the drought in Argentina. Brazil just produces so much more over such a bigger area, and they've had such a phenomenal crop that we're going to be, substantially higher out of South America this year than we were last year.
Kaden, on the other side of the ag marketplace, what did we see in the livestock markets today?
Yeah, really fairly quiet, especially in the cattle. Fats and feeders both closing pretty close to unchanged. We had some higher trading early in the day and kind of sold off to close pretty close to even. Like I said, hogs continue to not find a friend. They were higher early in the day, hit the 10-day moving average, sold off, and closed lower. So just continue to be hurting, looking for somebody to buy them. But like I said, pretty quiet in the cattle. Hogs, I don't think you want to be long yet by any means.
Kaden Sweeney, our guest for our closing market analysis here today. Kaden, always great analysis from the team at agmarket.net. How can our viewers get in touch for more great information?
Yeah, be sure to go to our website, agmarket.net, and get a free trial of our intel, our weekly videos and Matt Bennett's commentary, things like that. If you want to reach me directly, my line is 815-691-2672.
Thank you, Kaden. Have a great day, and we'll talk again soon.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Have a good one.
Thanks once again to the team at agmarket.net for our closing market analysis. Let's turn our attention now to the closing numbers, courtesy of the folks at Bar Chart. March corn is down 7 3/4 at $6.70 3/4. New crop December corn down 5 even at $5.90 1/2. March soybeans down 1/2 cent at $15.19 1/4. New crop November soybeans down 5 1/2 at $13.65 1/4. May soybean meal up $8.40 at $4.78 even. May soybean oil down $1.54 at $59.17. Chicago wheat down 7 even at $7.68 even. Minneapolis wheat down 8 1/2 at $9.10 even. Kansas hard red wheat down 15 1/2 at $8.68 even. On the Merc, live cattle for February up 2 cents at $160.82. March feeder cattle up 37 cents at $186.82. February lean hogs down 10 cents at $75.82. February pork cutout down 35 cents at $81.45. And February Class 3 milk up 14 cents at $17.95. And that's been a check of the ag market recap here on Ag Matters PM. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break to hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soy Checkoff. And when we come back, I will visit with Courtney Knupp, National Pork Board Vice President of International Market Development. This is AMPM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
Welcome back to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Mark Magnuson. Today I speak with Courtney Knupp, National Pork Board Vice President of International Market Development. We're going to talk about export growth strategies here on AMPM. Mark Magnuson on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, and today I'm joined by Courtney Knupp. She is Vice President of International Markets Development with the National Pork Board. Courtney, that title, it kind of tells you a lot that you need to know, but could you tell us what you do in your day-to-day job with the NPB?
Sure. I have the great honor of working for our pork producers in this country, and an integral part of providing value and driving new opportunity is our export markets. And we're really excited. We've been focusing on differentiating our markets, and that means having access to as many places as possible. We'll export to almost 100 countries in a year, but really investing trade promotion dollars to make sure that we're driving more value for those products. And so our big focus has been a lot of work in the Western Hemisphere and Southeast Asia. And we are very busy as we are working with our producers each and every day to make sure that we're implementing the right tactics and differentiating U.S. pork compared to other competitors.
And Courtney, I'm sure one of the best ways to get to know a market is to visit there. And today we wanted to talk a little bit about that, some trips that have taken place already, some upcoming trips. How important are these trips for getting a feel of what the country that you're visiting is like and just the overall appetite for pork in that country?
Super important in international marketing to be in the markets themselves. Each has different needs and insights and demand factors of which drive opportunity. It also helps us to know how we work from importing to further processors, then adding value and branded products in retail and food service. And no one is better at promoting our products than pork producers themselves. It's great to bring them in market, to meet directly with our customers. And also we've invest a lot of pork checkoff dollars in the international space. So they need to see and evaluate the return on our investment from the hard work that we're doing in the space. So our calendar has been very busy and will continue to be very busy with international travel, but getting producers boots on the ground is one of our strongest marketing tactics.
So Courtney, how do you decide what that developing market is to target for expanding U.S. pork into that market? Is it just the pure demand? Is it the readiness for United States pork to go into that market and hopefully expand things?
Yeah, constant analysis and forecasting, not just on markets, but all the global conditions and factors that happen. Last year, we had a very strong dollar. There's foreign animal disease spread. There's geopolitical situations, and all that provides changing factors and what we call opportunities. So as we look at a market, we're always looking at what's their current consumption of pork, what's their domestic supply of pork, what is their likelihood of increasing pork, and we invest dollars to do all of those things, because if we can grow the pie, we can win with their domestic industry and their need for imported product, where we can amply compete. So that's how we assess our markets, and those biggest priorities for volume, value, and a diversified product mix are how we prioritize and target our funding.
So Courtney, I know there's always just a handful of markets that you're really focused on trying to expand into as kind of newer markets or emerging markets. What are those markets right now? As you mentioned, exporting pork to over 100 countries, but what are those markets that are right now kind of taking those baby steps towards U.S. pork expanding into that market?
Our big focus in 2023 is really honing in on what our strategy and go-to-market approach will be in Central America. And the reason we're targeted there is because we have the full implementation of our free trade agreement, the CAFTA-DR, and our free trade agreement with Panama. And that region of the world, when you add up their population across multiple countries, is an equivalent size to Mexico. Mexico is a huge success for us, and we're always seeking new partners where we can create consistent demand. And in this case, especially when it's so close to home. So it really gives us a lot of advantages and good partnerships just in the hemisphere in general. So that's where we're largely focusing, but we also are seeing a lot of work in Southeast Asia, our traditionally strong markets of Korea, Japan, and Mexico. But we're pretty busy and focused. We always have an eye on Africa as well. We're getting new access in there slowly but surely. We just achieved access to Ghana. And so with that, we also want to keep an eye on their cold chain capabilities and their ability to import product and receive a perishable item like frozen pork. So it's a busy world, but there's a lot of opportunities, and no one provides or produces a more quality, consistent, or the most efficient and very cost competitive. So U.S. pork is definitely well positioned.
And then Courtney, shifting gears here before we wrap things up, year-end export numbers. Let's talk about how pork did in 2022. Were numbers just big picture? Was it a good year for pork exports?
It was a very good year for pork exports in 2022. There were a lot of headwinds in the global dynamics. We had a very strong dollar, and we faced a lot of fierce competition because China wasn't buying a lot this past year, hence diversity being very important. We landed the plane at a top 3 export year, which is just phenomenal. We were just under 7.7 billion in volume, in value, and in volume just at 2.67 million metric tons. So it's really important. We also look at this not just year on year, because 2021 was a record year. We're looking at the 5-year average, because as we come out of a post-pandemic world, what's our new normal? And we also look at the data with and without China. And so we're seeing consistent growth in value over time of our products, value per unit, and very strong performance on volume. It still encompasses 27.5% of our production. So it's been a good year.
And Courtney, just with the talk of emerging markets, trying to get into those markets and have U.S. pork be a big part of their marketplace, do you still see a large amount of room to expand?
I do, especially when we look at, high protein products such as variety meats, things we don't eat here. That's an easy barrier or way to enter a market, and then start building demand for things like the loin and the shoulder and the ham. So there's ample opportunities as markets develop and consumers get more income. They like to spend that in their grocery baskets, and that includes the purchasing of meat and poultry. And we viably want to compete in that space. So there's huge opportunity in developing markets.
She is Courtney Knupp, Vice President of International Market Development with the National Pork Board. Courtney, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today. Have a great week, and we'll hopefully speak again sometime soon.
Thank you so much.
That was Courtney Knupp, National Pork Board Vice President of International Market Development. As for right now, let's take a look at the ag weather outlook. Well, there's been a little bit of everything with the weather here in the state of Iowa today, from rain to wintry mix to snow, and it's going to continue throughout the day, but then into this evening, things are going to clear out a little bit, and then we start to look towards tomorrow, where we're going to have a lot of sunshine and a lot of sunshine statewide. It will still be cool, but temperatures will be improving, and we look forward to that. Let's turn our attention now to the National Weather Service and what it has in store for the next 24 hours. As you can see from the National Weather Service, we have a little bit of everything when it comes to weather here in the state of Iowa today. Widespread mixed precipitation from west to east, localized areas of snow, high temperatures today in the 32 to 40 range. Tonight will be windy with partly cloudy skies, a chance for a wintry mix throughout the state. Low temperatures this evening from 7 to 22. Tomorrow, going to be a completely different story. Widespread sunshine and warmer temperatures throughout the state. High temperatures from 25 to 39. And taking a look now at our affiliate weather map for tomorrow. Once again, widespread sunshine across the entire state. Cherokee with sunny skies and a high around 25. Shenandoah, the warm spot on the map for our affiliate weather map. Shenandoah tomorrow looking like it's going to be a very nice day. Sunny skies and 39. Des Moines, sunny and 35. Albia, sunny and 33. As we head more to the eastern portions of the state, things will cool off a little bit. Waterloo, sunny, 28 degrees, and Clinton tomorrow looking at sunny skies with a high around 29. For a more detailed forecast in your part of the state, make sure and check with your local Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network affiliate. And that's been a check of the Ag Weather Outlook. That also brings us to the end of this episode of Ag Matters PM. You can find all of our content on our website at iowaagnet.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and LinkedIn. And you can find all of our video content and previous episodes of AMPM on our YouTube channel. Also, don't forget our free twice-daily market podcast, which are located on Apple, Amazon, Google, Spotify, and Podbean. From the IARN studios in Des Moines, I'm Mark Magnuson. On behalf of Riley Smith and Dustin Huffman, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.